Hi, I'm back for my second vlog about being a stay-at-home mom. So thanks for coming back. I want to first say thank you to my friend Sarah Weaver, who is just the best, and she sent me up a real live HD webcam to use for my vlog series. Thank you, Sarah, so much. Seriously. Um, so today I want to talk a little bit about my initial fears and anxieties transitioning from a full-time working mom to a full-time stay-at-home mom. And I want to make it supremely clear that I understand that this is totally my own experience. I have 3 young kids, none of whom are in school yet, and we live in western, rural, suburbanish Pennsylvania, where I am surrounded by friends and family and support. Just to give you some background about sort of where I'm coming in from. And I've been working since I was 16, after school, after high school, and then all through college. And then after I graduated, I went straight into the work. I also was raised by a working mom. Hi, Mom! As my husband was raised by a working mom. Hi, Gigi. At least part-time. She always worked as well. So I really came into being a stay-at-home mom feeling like it was very unfamiliar territory. It seemed a little bit scary, especially that we would be moving from 2 paychecks to 1. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So one of the things that I was initially worried about, and I think it's totally normal, was our financial situation. When you go from 2 paychecks to 1, that's a considerable downsizing. And so we sort of made a conscious effort before I left work to, for about 2 to 3 months, really attempt to see. I mean, before that, we had like on paper looked at all the numbers. But then for about 2 to 3 months before I actually left work, and I had already decided at that point, sort of in my mind, that we were going to do it. We tried to live on just on my husband's paycheck, and then we moved my whatever I was making into like our savings account. And so we were finding ourselves like, yeah, we could do this, but also, transferring money into our checking account. Because the truth is, I mean, the more money you make, the more money you spend. You find ways to spend it. In hindsight's 2020, and now that we do only actually live on 1 paycheck, to look back now and think what we had been spending, and completely unnecessarily so, but you have to live and learn, right? So I think my concerns about our financial situation were valid. I think anytime you make a huge change from what you're bringing in, that's a valid worry. But I also think that it was, if I would go back to work now and we would have two paychecks coming in, or whenever I decide to go back to work, I think the experience from going from 2 paychecks to 1, and sort of those lessons that I learned about how much money we were spending frivolously, to now, that's an invaluable lesson. I mean, now that we know, you can't unknow it. So yes, my concerns were valid, and yes, it was scary. I mean, it's still scary sometimes. Holidays come around, or we sort of have a cluster of birthdays, or vacation. Right now we're saving up for vacation, and it is a scary thing. Money is a scary thing because you need it to live, to feed your family, to pay the bills. And so it's definitely something that still comes up, but something that I think we have a much more clear understanding about, where we can be flexible in spending money. Yeah, honey, go ahead and get a napkin. Where we can be flexible in spending money, and where we need to get serious and just not be so wasteful. And I think with extra money, you have the opportunity to be wasteful, and now in this role, we don't. Before I left work to stay at home, I actually worked at home. And so technically, I was here at home. Grayson was going to daycare, and Gemma was a baby, so she napped a lot. But I was physically at home. And so a very big part of the reason that I decided to stay at home was that I didn't feel like I was giving 100% to work, to the kids, to our house, to my husband. Nothing was getting 100% of me. And it felt really like a struggle every day. I was feeling really guilty about like every aspect of my lives. And so one of my concerns, so funny, hang on to your seats for this. One of my concerns moving into stay-at-home mom land was that there was just going to be so much time. So funny. So I thought, I'm already at home, working at home for a job. And so now to remove that from the equation, and while I was working, I still had to take care of the kids and, do all the other stuff, take care of the house, etc. But I thought, I'm just going to remove that from the equation, the job, and then I'm just going to have all this time during the day. It's going to be insane. I don't even know how I'm going to fill up this time because that's basically what I'm getting. I'm turning in a paycheck for this huge amount of time in the day, and I might not be able to fill it up. I mean, I wish I could go back and kiss that girl. What are you talking about? There's never enough time in the day. I mean, you can fill it up with so much, so many things. But I think one of the things that I was not concerned about, and now being a stay-at-home mom after, I'm going on, 2.5 years now, is that while I was working, I really allowed myself so much more grace than I have now. And in my mind, I allowed myself this time to just unwind because I felt very much like, you know what, I worked today in a real job. I worked in my real job and I'm taking care of the house and I'm taking care of the kids. And that's too much. And so, yeah, I'm going to watch Law and Order SVU while I have lunch. I'm going to take some that time for me. Whereas now, 2.5 years into stay-at-home mom land, I am very much less likely to give myself that time and say, you know what, I worked hard today. I should go on a Law and Order SVU marathon binge. I mean, I want to do that. Sometimes I do when I'm deathly sick and someone has the kids. But I haven't had my hair done in 2 years. Exhibit A. And so I think my initial fears of thinking there would be all this time that I would just, not know what to do with is hysterical and totally unvalid worry. And now I'm thinking, I'm trying to think about ways to incorporate my own self into my day. I just, there's a lot of people call it mom guilt, and I mean, I have it too. I don't earn a paycheck, and what I'm doing during the day is fully mom, wife, adult, paying bills, etc. jobs. And so it feels like in my own weird psyche that, I'm just doing what I have to do, and there's not really an excuse or a time to say, you know what, you could use a break, or why don't you go take time to, read or write. It's sort of let me squeeze that in. Maybe if I can get a shower, cool. So I think my concerns were a little off in the beginning, and now I'm getting to the place where I understand that the house runs better if I feel better, and I feel better when I care about me, when I take time to care about me, and so that's a work in progress, but sort of how my fears have changed over the course of 2.5 years being in this role. So this is the big one. I had it about a week after being a stay-at-home mom. It started to flare up because I went in guns a-blazing. I thought I was going to have all this time, and not only could I do everything I wanted to do, but I also would be able to do these like big projects that I didn't have time for before, like organizing the attic and these enormous. This is my to-do list was so hilariously ambitious. And after about a week, when I started to realize, actually, there is not that much time to get everything done, I started to have this sort of unsettling anxiety that I didn't know how to prove to myself that my day was productive or successful. Because you think, after working since I was 16, the proof when you have a job, thank you, honey. The proof when you have a job is a paycheck. You get a paycheck, or you have a performance review. You have a boss who tells you how your job is going. Or when I was like a waitress, you got tips because you did a good job. There was a clear, defined, like, this means you're doing a good job. This means you're not. And now in this role, and I never, my mom worked, and almost all of the women in my life growing up, they worked. And so I didn't even have like a picture of what this job looked like. I mean, I had in my mind, I had, TV's version of it. Hello. And so I didn't know, I didn't even have like a thought about what a productive day even looked like. And so after about a week, I really started to feel a strange feeling that I'm looking at the baby. That's nice. That I didn't know how to say, this is a job well done. This is me doing this job well. I didn't know how to prove that to myself. And definitely a part of it was that I hadn't allowed myself to get into sort of the swing of things, and, get into some sort of comfortable routine with my new job. And also because I was creating these ambitious to-do lists that were just outrageous because I thought there was going to be all this time, and I couldn't complete them, not even close. And so I was really feeling like I had made a plan for my new role, and I had, set expectations for myself that then I couldn't meet. And not only couldn't I meet these goals, but then I was also feeling really drained, and I wasn't taking time for myself at all, and sort of internally berating myself that how, when I left a job that for a paycheck to do this, and I can't even do this, as good as I thought I wanted to, or as good as I thought should be done. So not only was that struggle within my own self, that I was really being mean to myself about how my performance for the job was, but also it was causing problems between Brandon and I, where I was starting fights, sort of as a way, my weird, unproductive way of trying to figure out if he thought what I was doing was worth the difference in getting a paycheck. So me not working and being here at home, did he think that it was worth not having the same amount of money? And instead of just outright asking him like a normal human being and talking about it and talking about how I felt, it's actually starting as unintentionally or intentionally starting fights about whether or not he thought that my time at home was being well spent and was a worthwhile trade-off. It's something that I still think about. It's something that still sort of creeps up, and I think it's just residual from working for a paycheck for most of my life. It's the biggest anxiety that I have about being a stay-at-home mom is whether or not what I do, what I spend my time for, is this the right choice? I'm really the only person who comes to judgment. I mean, I guess when my kids are grown up and they are then become citizens of the world, will their future selves be reflective of the job that I did? And then maybe I can decide whether or not it was a job well done. So it's still something I struggle with, and it's definitely the biggest concern that I have about this job, this life that I am very blessed and very lucky to have. I'm still learning how to do it the best as I can. And so now, just a word, PSA style, on full-time working moms and stay-at-home moms. I have been on both sides now, and lots of people try to, online, maybe in the real world, try to decide which is better, which is the ideal situation. And I see articles where they have fake salaries for stay-at-home moms. They tabulate up all the possible roles that a stay-at-home mom has and then give this like enormous fake salary for her. And then full-time working moms comment on that and say things like, I do all that and have a full-time job. And it's sort of this like fake battle that goes on. And now, having both roles, I'm here to tell you that you can't compare the two. So there is no better. We're all just trying to do the best that we can, and we're just doing what we have to do. And I mean, lots of people use the analogy of comparing apples to oranges, but that literally is what it is. I can't compare my experience as a full-time working mom to now my experience as a full-time stay-at-home mom because it's two completely different things. The transfer from what I did as a working mom is not a clean transfer to now like lay over my current job as a full-time stay-at-home mom. It doesn't, things don't line up like at all. And so to compare the two is just not even a true picture of what either of them look like. So I'm here to say there is no best way. There's only the way that you can do it because that's how your reality is. And right now, our reality is I stay at home and we cut corners and we make things work so that I can do this job. And I'm blessed to have that opportunity. That doesn't mean it isn't hard. That doesn't mean that I don't have days where I think this is crazy and I live in an insane asylum. It's just my reality, as is full-time working moms. That's their reality, that they have money in the bank, but they also go to work and feel guilty that someone is watching their kids, or they couldn't make it to a recital because they had work. And that's just the reality. That is our daily survival. You do what you have to do, and neither is better. It's just how it works. And I think removing this like battle from each other about which one is better, there is no better. It's you just do what you have to do. And I wish we could all support each other and sing Kumbaya, but it's not the case. So if today you can sort of consider that your reality, what you do, whether it be stay at home or work part-time or work full-time, that you're doing the best that you can do, just like I'm doing the best that I can do. And we all have our own personal guilt situations, and we all have our own personal struggles, and it's just our reality. So we just gotta live it and try to be better tomorrow. Try to do better to ourselves, not be better than the next person or be better than the mom on Pinterest. We just gotta be better tomorrow than how we are today, our own personal better. So it's just my thoughts on that. I hope you enjoyed the video this week. Next week I'm talking about schedules, so come back next Wednesday and good luck. I hope you have a great one. What kind of stuff does mommy do at home?
Like Google Eyes?
And now, you do Google Eyes.
No.
Come on, do it. You want some toast? Okay. I can get you some toast. To. On the internet and also in I told you to stop.
Got mud on your face, a big disgrace. Kicking you can over the place. So we will rock you.
Not be so critical of each other's, not even choices, just the way that we. Right? You feel me? You feel me, girl? And I think being a stay-at-home mom is really important because my kids, they just love spending time with me and having huggas and playing games.